one of my favorite stories of all time is the story of how the Buddha became who he was. Now, he was born Siddhartha Gautama, and he was born to a line of privilege, wealth of the likes that you cannot even fathom. Before he was born, his father had been foretold that either he would become the next king or he would renounce the world and become a saint. So in order to influence the outcome of his son's life, and of course as any parent would want to protect their child, his father went to the nth degree to ensure that he was protected from any sensory input relating to what the external world was. So Gautama then grew up in a home where there was always opulence, always beauty. He didn't experience any illness, any suffering, any kind of pain. And the facade of this utopia was kept and endured for most of his life. Until one day, Gautama had the opportunity to get some insight into what the external world was. So he began to see that there was sickness, that there was old age, that there was death. And it was this spiral of events that eventually led him to leaving behind this life of opulence and this illusion, this mirage, to seek what actual real truth was. It's a beautiful story, and it reminded me so much of the way that we sometimes parent. This morning I was driving my son to school, and as we were driving to school, there was a dog that had been knocked down on the road. And as we drove past the dog, I said to my son, "Don't look." And of course he looked, because the minute you say don't look, somebody's going to look. And then I thought, oh, Benita, you dumbass. Why did you say that? But then I also realized that this is the reality of life, and that our jobs as parents are not to keep our kids in these glass houses and keep them away from the reality, but rather to teach them how to cope and how to navigate life in a healthy way. So he has a very tender heart and cried all the way to school. And I was very aware of being in my body and not shying away from my emotions, and encouraged him to express himself.